Hello and welcome to our visit to the Fleet Air Arm Museum. We hope you enjoy it as much as we enjoy walking around the museum. Good morning and welcome to the Yeovilton Royal Naval Air Station Museum, or Royal Naval Air Station Yeovilton Museum. Okay, a couple of helicopters done, Sea Kings, Wessexes. Now let's get into, I think this is Hall 2, which looks like it might be World War II. Here's the Fairy Fulmer, basically used as a carrier-borne fighter. Love this little plane. I think I made an airfix model of this aircraft. It's the Grumman Martlet. Look at that beefy undercarriage on that look. That would take some serious hits down onto the carrier. Again, the Grumman Corsair, this is something that I would have made a model of. I seem to remember making two of them. Here's the Hellcat, fighter reconnaissance aircraft. Some 2,000 brake horsepower. That is amazing. That is a powerful aircraft for such its size. Love these folding wings. I'm just wondering if with these folding wings I could get it in the garage. I suspect not. So this is the Grumman Avenger. So not your typical fighter reconnaissance aircraft. This would be a torpedo aircraft in World War II, and the torpedo being kept in there. Just seeing these things up big, they are huge. I mean, it's all really down to carrying the size engine that's in there, the radial engine, I think it is. So yeah, absolutely massive. This one done up in the D-Day colours. This one, with 5 propeller blades, is one of my favourites, the Sea Fury. These sound absolutely phenomenal if you get one of these close up and you can hear it. And I think they've just brought one back to flying condition as well. I'm not quite sure who's done that. I think it's in the UK, but what a lovely aircraft. Can you imagine being 18, 19 and given the keys to this? I mean, obviously, once you get in the air, it all gets a bit serious, but, you know, if you like speed, what an amazing machine. Let's go and have a look, see what the speed was for this. Where are we? 460 miles per hour. Quite something. And next to us here, I think, is a MiG-15. I think probably of the type that the Americans come across when they were flying propeller aircraft in Vietnam. Quite a scary situation, I think. Just looking at this picture here, I mean, carrier landings, that would have been so scary. But it's like anything, once you train to do it, right? You know, you're okay to do these things. Not saying it's not dangerous, but if you had the training. Look at this guy on the right-hand side, playing tennis. Okay, here's a cockpit. Can't imagine. Are you allowed to get in there? Probably not. Oh well, not much going on today, but there's a helicopter there just flying. But I think this would be amazing if you could see a bit more operational stuff. Whether they're not doing many operations today or they're flying from a different part of the airfield, I don't know. You can see in the distance over there, I think, is it a Sea King or a Merlin? And then the trainer aircraft, the single engine ones. Here we go. Here's a Sea Vampire. There's a great video, I think, of a Vampire on YouTube. More recently, not in the Second World War, but I can't remember at which airfield it was, but it powered up its jet. So it's a historic aircraft that flies, powered up its jet and or jet engine, and promptly ripped up the runway as it sped off down the runway. I love these aircraft. I think I've probably got, there's definitely a kit half built which my son started, but there's just something about these aircraft. It's the wing shape, because they're I can't remember the name of it, the type of wing, but this is a Corsair, and maybe we can find out here. Maybe it says something. No, I can't see what it is, but I think it's I can't remember, so I'm not going to say what the style of the wing is, but you can see, it drops down there, so this bit here, so it drops down and then goes out straight. Lovely. Lady here on her bike just seems to be doing something, but here is what's called a Harvard, and you know they're very distinctive when they're flying, but they're almost like a popping sound. With the Spitfire you get like this, almost a bit of a growl from the Rolls-Royce engine, but this is an American aircraft, the Harvard, basically a training aircraft. So this is what you would do. You would elevate to flying a training aircraft like this before you went to something like a Spitfire, because this gives you the capabilities and understanding of quite a powerful propeller-based aircraft. So yeah, a 2-seat advanced trainer. So you would probably spend quite a few hours on one of these before they let you have a go at one of the actual, really fast fighters. I mean, this, does it say here what the speed is of it? Let's have a look. They normally do, don't they? So it'll do 205 miles an hour, so relatively slow when you look at some of the others over there that would do 400 miles an hour. Okay, let's, I think we go through this way to the carrier experience. Now, I remember coming to this when it was first done, and I think it's been rearranged a bit because of COVID, but years ago, I don't remember when it first was, and that was the last time I came to the museum. But this is really nicely laid out, because you can walk around all the aircraft. Sometimes the aircraft are pushed up against the wall and you can't get around the back, but if you're making a model of one of these aircraft, you get to come and see these really up close, and you can really get the detail.
Welcome aboard. You're about to head onto the flight deck of a Royal Navy aircraft carrier.
This is funny. It's a Shell helicopter, and it's actually moving as if the rotors were going round. And here we are. We come on to an active carrier deck. They've done a good job of this, right? I remember how good it looked before.
British and French forces landed in Egypt to restore international control over the Sopwith Camel and bring an end to the Suez crisis. In the world's first helicopter-borne assault landing, 415 Royal Marine commandos landed.
That's really good. Wow. Good sound effects. This is a great experience. Now, of course, nothing like how noisy it will be actually on an aircraft carrier, but it's very good. Look at this. This is one of my favourite aircraft. What a great view of it. This is the Phantom. Just an American built and designed aircraft, but if you ever heard one of these fly, look at the size of those engines. It was a beast. This is what's great about this museum, is you can actually walk around the aircraft all the way around them. Mostly, anyway. That's a couple of chaps here just doing something. Let's have a chat, shall we? Hello guys, how are you doing? Are you, what are you doing? So you're connecting up the cable to the arrestor hook. Well done. And well, look, I'll leave you to it, and if you could just keep up the good work, fantastic. Oh, there you go. There's a couple of oh, this guy seems to think thumbs up, everything's going good. Not particularly chatty as a team. So, oh, look at this, the Harrier. Isn't that fantastic?
Squadron Commander Edward Dunning landed a Sopwith Camel onto HMS Furious in Scapa Flow. It was the first time the aircraft had successfully landed onto the deck.
Again, can you imagine being given the keys to something like this? What an exhilarating career that must be. Obviously, it's got risks because if you ever have to go to combat, you know, it's that's not straightforward. And also, look at this weaponry. Look at this. Literally, firing that at the wrong time, at the wrong thing, could start the next global war, which is scary. So the sort of kind of decision-making skills that these guys had to fly some of these aircraft is amazing. Here's a Buccaneer, look. XN957. Again, an amazing aircraft. Decades old when it came to the Gulf War. Yet these things impressed... Oh, aircraft coming over. These things impressed everybody with the skills of the crew to be able to fly near ground level. So evading radar, terrain hugging, being able to get, you know, in situ and deliver its payload. Absolute beast of an aircraft. Look at that undercarriage, look. Look how solid that is to be able to take. Yeah, I know when I fly the little aeroplanes, you know, my landings aren't particularly great, but look at that. That's going to take a solid landing onto an aircraft carrier. Absolutely lovely, lovely, lovely. What a great experience this is. So here we are with the Sea Vixen with its folding wings. Again, another carrier-based aircraft carrier. Again, another carrier-based aircraft. Folding wings, obviously, to save space on the aircraft carrier. Look at this. Look at these almost with this tail fin. Look at that with the rudder and the. That is astonishing. Absolutely astonishing. It's a huge aircraft. This is just brilliant. I've never been able to get inside this space. This, I think what this is if basically if the aircraft loses power, this thing pops up and the air spins this generating power for the avionics. Now, if you fly for holidays and that kind of thing, like an A320, they actually have a fan like that comes out, and just in case the aircraft does lose power. So it's a kind of backup system. So this was being done, you know, years ago, really. So this, you know, I can't remember seeing one of these before. This is apparently a Supermarine attacker. Supermarine being the manufacturer of the Spitfire, of course, and as things kind of came back, as things, you know, consolidated, so many of these aircraft manufacturers got bought out and consolidated into, you know, BAE Systems and those things over the years. And this is the Westland Wyvern. So, sorry, low-flying aircraft. And this is the Westland Wyvern. So you notice it's got two sets of propellers, or two propellers on the front. I think they're contra-rotating, and by that I mean one goes one way, one goes the other. And that's because if it didn't, it would shake itself to bits. But look at the exhaust on that engine. Look, I'm not sure if you can see it. But again, if you look how far back the pilot is sat and the length of the nose, so your visibility really wouldn't be very good at all. And here you go. This is the Supermarine Seafire, which I think it's hereditary, can't say the word, goes back to the Spitfire. It always interests me that, so if you look at the wheelbase on this aircraft, it's probably less than 8 feet. And that's the stability you get on landing. If you look at this aircraft, much, much wider. That must be at least, I don't know, 16, 17 feet probably. So, you know, that is going to be much more stable when you land on the runway versus this. And if you ever see the Spitfires take off, they never seem that stable, really. Oh, look at this. This is taking us back a bit, isn't it? A Sopwith pup. I think back in the day, I'd have liked to have been someone that named aircraft. A Sopwith pup. How did you ever come up with this being called a Sopwith pup? So Sopwith is a manufacturer. You can see on the tail there, Sopwith Aviation Company in Kingston upon Thames. Beautiful. I think this is great. Look how nicely displayed all this is. Sound effects, probably drowning out all the other noises. Me talking noises, that is. I mean, these are the key things that deliver the mission, the payload and the weaponry. But of course, when you look at what keeps these things going, it's the men, the people, and just something like this little tractor type thing. I have no idea what this is called. A tug, I guess. But, you know, without these things, none of the aircraft can get moved around the aircraft carrier and just generally pulled around. So, whilst all these things look fantastic, you have to think what a role these pieces of kit played as well, and do play now, today. So this is great. You've got the projected screen that shows you all the videos and a good narrative that goes as well. And then all these great exhibits. Absolutely wonderful.
In 1982, the aircraft carriers HMS Hermes and HMS Invincible were a British
This is where aircraft were locked in and out, and any faults involved. Everything to do with an aircraft. And it's also where watches were then synchronized. There was flights and everyone was all at the same time.
There it is. There you go, there's the lovely Harrier. What an amazing piece of innovation. And here, look, the Fairy Delta. Let's have a look, see what it says about that. There are 4 sources of information about the Fairy Delta, 2 from its information point. Okay. Facts and figures. So it was a research aircraft, a part of the British post-war supersonic aircraft program. It was the first aircraft to exceed 1,000 miles an hour in level flight. In March 1956, it broke the world airspeed record with a speed of 1,132 miles per hour. The Delta II was the last fixed-wing aircraft to be designed and built by the Fairy Aviation Company. And that's what I was saying earlier on about, you know, so many of these companies were consolidated into, you know, main companies, because as small companies, they just couldn't, you know, you couldn't survive. The cost of developing aircraft had gone through the roof. And it just made sense to have the technical know-how in one place. And typically these companies that would have had almost like you know a kind of identity of their own, and they probably lost that when they got swallowed up by these big companies. Look at that, look. The links. That's great. So it's got a kind of model of the jump deck, which was on Illustrious and the new carriers as well in a similar format. Amazing. This is a beast, look. It says that some of them have on the front here, it has a board that says Falklands, I was there, Western Sea King ZA Zulu Alpha 298. Less than a year after its delivery to the Royal Navy, this jungly helicopter saw combat service in the Falklands. It was attacked in flight by Argentine aircraft and received serious damage to its rotor blades, part of which is on display. Zero Alpha 298 went on to serve for over 30 years, surviving further battle damage in both Gulf Wars, Bosnia and Afghanistan, earning the title King of the Junglies. How are you? Nice to meet you. I was just chatting to some of your other friends on the... Oh, hello. It's got a bit of a gun there. Well, carry on. Good work. Good work, men. So obviously not what you might expect in terms of seats. There's an example of the seats. I actually have a Concorde bag tag at home. If I get a chance, I'll take a picture of it when I make this video. Fine dining in the air. Look at all this test equipment. You can imagine, can't you, that most of this now would fit in your phone. And look at all these wires. My goodness. An emergency ladder, which looks fairly high tech. Looks like something that might have been slung over the side of a galleon years ago. And of course, so much of the Navy made its way to the air. Names and procedures, hierarchy, that kind of thing. Must have been phenomenal to have had a job. Scary as well, right? Because when these things take off in the early days, a lot of risk, right? Imagine all of this stuff connected together and all the things that could possibly go wrong. Here we go, here's the Concorde cockpit. Wow. Well, you think so much of that nowadays is probably on 4 displays in an A320. But back then, so much mechanical, not digital, infrastructure on the aircraft. Lovely. Well, I hope you've enjoyed your walk around the Fleet Air Museum as much as we did, and I wonder if perhaps you might consider subscribing and perhaps even clicking the bell to be notified every time there's a new video. Thanks for watching, see you on the next one.